Hello.
Okay, so let's start. So, hi guys, and welcome to the third episode of Dreamers and Doers. So the concept is I interview people who, at least according to me, are shaping the kind of happy world, or exciting at least, of tomorrow.
Good.
Which is,
I like being in that category.
and
Am I talking to loads of French people tonight?
There could be a few Frenchies, yeah. I think there were especially a lot of people from Bondi interested.
Okay, you reckon they'll be okay with my accent?
I think that'd be fine.
We don't have to go into French.
No, that's fine.
Okay, good.
But there could be a few Frenchies, yeah, that's why. And so basically, yeah, I kind of think meditation will have a role to play personally, but yeah, so I started meditation a year and a half ago with Matt, who's here, and created the Bondi Meditation Centre. Yeah, so, I mean, we can jump into first how you got into meditating, because so Matt has an entrepreneurial and corporate background. Also, for the people who know me, like 2 years ago, if you told me about meditation, I'd be like, So yeah, how did you get into meditation?
I got into meditation. I tried to get into meditation when I was young. My mum gave me a book because I had quite bad anxiety. I'm very bad, actually, chronic and acute. When I was about 19, 20. My mum gave me a book and it sounded good, but it didn't work. You know what I mean? And then my friend gave me some CDs, mindfulness CDs, when I was in my maybe late 20s or maybe even 30s, early 30s. And so these people identified I needed correcting in some way, assisting, helping. And they were right. And then, but again, the mindfulness CDs didn't work for me. They worked for lots of people. And then how I got into it was I actually bought myself a book. I was buying my brother a film by David Lynch because I really like David Lynch. And I bought him this film, a really weird film called Inland Empire by David Lynch. And next to that in Amazon people also bought this book called Catching the Big Fish, which was about David Lynch's creative process. And I bought that for myself, and he keeps talking about this meditation. Where you'd go and meet a guru, which just means a teacher. He or she gives you a sound. You think that sound inside, and you go to this quiet, still place. And then it's easy to do that. And everything in your life gets better if you do it for 20 minutes twice a day. And that's how I got into it. That's Vedic meditation, or otherwise known as transcendental meditation, is another name for can't say exactly the same technique, but very similar technique.
Okay. And David Lynch was a foundation for transcendental meditation.
That's right.
So, and so also quite quickly, what was your training then to become a Vedic meditation? You say guru or teacher?
A guru? No, teacher, definitely, because guru has all sorts of associations. I mean, all guru means is remover of darkness. That's literal translation, which is a nice thing. And the idea of bringing enlightenment, the idea of bringing light, i.e. a clearer view of the truth. So, but it's got the connotations of manipulation, abuse of power, and so on. Right? Yeah. So it's just a bit of a loaded word. Anyway, so teacher. How did I become a teacher? Well, I trained. So you have to do quite a lot of, when I did it, I think you had to have meditated for 3 years. Maybe 2, with this technique. And then you do about what amounts to about a year or year and a half of study. And then you go and do the concentrated final part of the training, which is you have to go into isolation basically with a master and some other people who are doing it, and do a lot of meditation, up to 14 hours a day for a 3-month period, and pass all sorts of tests and things that they do to try and basically drive you a bit nuts, I think. And then if you come through all that and you have lost your marble, you haven't lost your marbles, or in my case you have, but you've managed to refine them to some extent, then they give you the mantras.
Okay. Now let's dive into the questions you guys may have, which is, so for example, I come from France, business school. So in this background, like a lot of the friends, people I have around me, they have an idea of meditation of something quite religious or maybe a bit hippie or somehow quite irrational.
Yeah, well, this used to be the case here and still is in some areas of Australia. Some areas are ahead of others in terms of getting used to the idea. Bondi and the eastern suburbs of Sydney are very, I mean, it's normal here.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
They start teaching it at school too, right?
They start teaching it at school. It's very normal. But to answer the question, is it religious? Look, it's spiritual, right? But you don't have to experience the spirituality. But basically, what is spirituality? Would be a good place to start. Spirituality is being able to connect with something bigger than our individual self. So the sense of the fact that existence and our existence to some extent does not begin and end right here, and that you can connect with something else. That's the idea of spirituality. Now, when you meditate, you can start to have an experience of that, and you can explore that. But equally, you might just use it as a relaxation technique, which many people do.
Okay.
So many people could use it just as a way of lowering their blood pressure, or what else might you do? Just reducing anxiety, helping them get out of depression, dealing with work stress, all this kind of stuff. And you don't have to even touch on the area of spirituality. Although I will say it may creep up on you.
I think from my personal experience, like I got into meditation, I think mainly thanks to Tim Ferriss' show. I don't know if you know him, but he's like a pretty successful guy, but very, very driven, very rational, and more from a performance point of view. Which was like being able to focus, to leave thoughts aside, and then.
But it does meditation does make you more useful.
Yeah.
Because it stops you spending so much time watching the nonsensical or imaginary move in your mind, where you're thinking about what might happen, worrying about that, thinking about what has happened and thinking how you could have changed that, but of course you can't now. And all of that stuff keeps you away from interacting with the present moment and bringing the best result. So when you meditate, you tend to get much better at your job. I mean, at your job, you might often, when we're working, we can get in the zone and we're just in the flow state and we do really well. But there are other times when we're just battling the emotional components of the work and we're not really there. So that when we meditate, we spend more time present doing our best work.
And
so it could be manipulated and abused by employers to make you work longer hours.
Well, actually, or working better at least.
Working better would be what we'd hope for.
And I think it starts to be more common at workplaces too.
So I have a new arm of the business called the business mind. And this part helps all parts, but it specifically helps sales teams, because this meditation I teach is dynamite for sales teams for reasons we could discuss, but we don't necessarily need to go there. And businesses are much more open to it now. They know it's good for their business. You know, it's ironic in a way that capitalism is driving ultimately, and that's what business is. It's not really that they want to be doing the right thing. That's not really it. What they really know is that they'll make more money if they're employees. Otherwise, they wouldn't spend the money. But they know they'll make more money. So ironically, capitalism is introducing, you could say, it's certainly introducing meditation. Is it introducing maybe the opposite of capitalism in some way, more of a humanism and more of a spiritual element, unified element into workplaces, which is quite a nice little irony, which I enjoy.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I want to ask you about a second question that a lot of people ask me, or at least statement they would make, which is, many people have kind of tried a bit meditation and say, well, I've tried, but I can't empty my mind of thoughts. So I feel I fail. I'm not good at it. It's not for me. So what would you tell these people?
I'll tell these people that they're trying to do it a very hard way. So to try and clear the mind of all thoughts is extremely difficult way of meditating. To force the mind and control it to do something, force the mind to do something unnatural. It's very, very hard. But there are techniques which are much more effortless and easy. in which you don't need to try to clear the mind or force it to do anything unnatural. And these are techniques based on an effortless technique. And there are easy ways to experience this. One of them is to download the app One Giant Mind. So that's number one, Giant Mind.
That you would recommend more than Headspace, for example, or Insight Timer?
I would. Yeah, I would recommend this more than those two, because One Giant Mind deals with an effortless transcending technique. So without trying, and with the use of a short sound, a mantra, One Giant Mind helps you to experience the sense of going beyond thoughts without trying to. What happens is you think a sound, this kind of sound, which is known as a bija mantra, you think it very easily and very effortlessly. And what happens is you start to just eventually drift off that sound. And as you drift off it, you drop down into a more subtle state. And then in that more subtle state, eventually you'll drift around for a while, and then you'll realize you're not on the mantra, you come back. So there's lots of that back and forth. Now, this is a very accessible, easy way to introduce people to the technique which I teach, which is Vedic meditation, which takes that effortless technique, puts it in a more formal setting, makes it much more powerful, and makes you self-sufficient. So you don't need an app, you don't need guided meditation. But because the technique I teach, costs more, costs more than nothing, certainly, which is what the app costs, it's a good place to start. And I find lots of people come from that app and other apps when they're ready for a deeper experience.
Well, even if, so I started to do program on meditation, and I direct them at first to Headspace. And I find that a lot of people who start doing Headspace on a regular basis start to be also interested in having a more maybe immersive training like yours.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, a lot of people need to build a little bit of confidence that it's something that they can do at all, and just get a taste for it. The analogy that I use with the apps is that it's like going on holiday, and there's a reef there, and you go for you take your snorkel out, and the first day you go out and you see a green fish, pink fish, and a yellow fish, and you're like, oh, this is so good. And the next day you go out again and you see the green fish, the pink fish, and the yellow fish. And it's like, yes, this is pretty good. And the third day you go out and you see them again. Oh, it's just those ones. Anything else around here? Oh. And the fourth day you don't bother going out. Yeah. No, this is a complete simplification. These apps provide a lot of value, but ultimately my experience of people coming to see me is that whilst they're easy and they give you a sense of something meditative, ultimately you get the sense that there's more depth out there. It's like you see the people going out on the dinghy with their scuba diving equipment, and you want to go with them and the teacher to guide them. And that's where people come to a teacher like me and can help them explore more deeply.
Cool analogy.
It is one that's been developing over recent weeks.
And also about the no thoughts, what I kind of understood is that people, they understand they fail when they have a thought, while having a thought is actually part of the process.
Well, there's a reason why people think they've failed. It's because a lot of the concentrative techniques, which are on the market, as in I've been around for many, many thousands of years, and a lot of them are do have more of a sense of trying to control their mind, and the message isn't completely clear that having thoughts is all part of it. The technique I teach, the Vedic meditation or transcendental meditation techniques, as also exemplified in the app One Giant Mind, these are effortless techniques. Where there is no attempt at all to control the mind. And through allowing the mind to do what it wants, we actually allow that easiness, that effortlessness, that letting go of control allows us to access deeper states. So yes, thinking is very much part of those techniques. And
if thinking arises, it's fine.
Absolutely. Thinking, in fact, in our technique, when you have a thought, it shows that you're releasing stress, and what you want to do is release stress. So thinking is good. It's welcomed.
I have also a question. Yeah. So you talked about starting a bit like a relaxation, or being maybe more in the present moment and focused on what you're doing. Yeah. I know a lot of people also who tell me, well, when I go for a run or for a swim, or even when I cook or when I garden, this is my meditation. So I don't feel like I need to meditate.
And I understand that. And on one level they're right, but there are different levels. So what they're saying is that when they do that, sorry, I'm actually heading out of shot rather than in shot. What they're doing when they go surfing or gardening or cooking or whatever is they go beyond the thinking mind more into a present moment experience. So they're thinking less and engaged with the action and the experience more. This is presence. This is being in the moment. This is the power of now, this is Eckhart Tolle stuff. So that's very, very good. But what it doesn't do is, compared to, for example, the Vedic meditation technique, is drop you into a hypo-metabolic state. Okay, so the technique I teach, Vedic meditation, drops you into a hypo-metabolic state through simply thinking the sound and forgetting to think it. So that hyper-metabolic state means a state of rest at least twice as deep as the deepest part of any sleep you have. So after, I think, an hour or two of sleep, your metabolism, as in the metabolizing of oxygen, drops to generally around 6-7%, by about 6 or 7%. And then if you have a really good night's sleep, by hour 5, you can get to a 10% reduction in metabolism. This is good night's sleep. When you meditate with this technique, you achieve a 20% reduction in the metabolic rate very quickly. And the first time you do it, and every time after that. So when you go into that state, the point is that the body goes into a deeper level of healing. It hasn't got anything else to do or anywhere near as much as it normally has. It knows it's not under any threat. There's no emergency. All the organs are just ticking over and the body starts to release the stress. It starts to heal very deeply. This doesn't happen when you go surfing. When you go surfing, you acquire present moment awareness and you come out of it feeling good because that kind of stays with you a little bit. And when you cook, again, these are all great things to do. But they don't heal the nervous system in the way that an effective and powerful meditation technique can. So absolutely, I wouldn't say to somebody, no, that's not your meditation. No, you're not meditating. I would say, yeah, I can see why. That would sound patronizing. I would say, yeah, that's one form of meditation. But there are deeper forms of meditation which have even more powerful effects.
Okay. And would that allow to sleep less, you think, to meditate or to meditate a lot? Or if you go into that restorative state?
Yes, because it is equivalent to a powerful meditation technique is equivalent to getting, say 20 minutes can be an hour to up to even 2 hours equivalent good sleep. So yes, you can notice, I definitely noticed, but it's taken quite a long time for me. I think probably, I've been meditating 10 years. It's probably in the last 5 years that I've noticed that I don't need as much sleep.
Okay.
And now I can certainly get away with having a bad night and still do my meditation in the morning and be on pretty good form.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I know people, I know very enlightened masters, let's say, who don't sleep at all.
Okay.
Or hardly at all. Yeah. They'll lie in a horizontal position maybe, but they won't actually go to sleep fully as we know it.
And how long would they meditate every day?
They may just meditate 20 minutes twice a day.
And they don't sleep?
That's right. But they've done lots of meditation in their lives.
Okay. Yeah, people into personal growth will like that. Because
people what?
Into personal growth, because you don't want to save time on sleep because that makes you less happy, less productive in your day. But if you can sleep less, but still being very productive, happy, and
that's right.
Fit,
yeah.
Then and healthy, then it's different.
You should find you're satisfied with less sleep. If not immediately, then eventually.
So we'll do a last question, and then we'll see if people also have questions. So I'll ask a last question, but you can start if you want. Asking questions on the chat, and we'll answer then in the Q&A session. But my last question, which is, so we talked a bit about what can be the expectations, the use, the benefits of meditation. Got quite interested also when I see how it kind of changed myself a little bit, and how it changes people who do it. Like sometimes last time I met a chick, she was like 20-year-old. She had been meditating a lot, and she was like super mature, super kind for it. And I was like, wow, that's quite powerful.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, well, when I see the spread of meditation, I feel like if like people are meditating more and more, that's what I kind of see.
Yeah.
And when I see the effect it has, I think we completely change the world, obviously in a more loving, kind, generous way. What's your view on this? Like,
absolutely. I mean, I don't think anyone who's viewing this would be surprised for me to say that for each person who learns to meditate, that person becomes less needing to take through manipulation of others in some way, and become more capable of giving. They realize that what happens when you meditate is you start to realize that nothing you get from the outside actually makes you happy, and that you really fulfill yourself inside, and then you can play with all that stuff outside. That's all good fun, but you don't need it in the same way. And when you realize this and start to feel more fulfilled, you naturally flip into a more of a giving, less of a taking. And so you're a more healthy part of the overall organism of the human race, of the planet, and so on. Rather than, if we just stick with that analogy for a minute, rather than being like a cancer cell attacking the other cells around them, you're more of a productive part of society. And there's obviously the more people that feel like this, the closer we get to world peace. And apparently there are tipping points because the effect of somebody in a higher state of consciousness is not just felt by the person they're talking to, but depending on how high a state they're in, this person or these people can have an event horizon and affect people around them. Now, this might be entering into slightly more abstract layers, but it's actually been tested and measured. It's known as the Maharishi effect. And if any of our viewers today, are interested in looking this up, they can look up the, I think it's a Liverpool study that was done in Liverpool, in England, Merseyside, where they got a lot of people meditating. I think it's about 1,000 meditating over a period of time, and measured the crime rate and so on in that area before, during, and after, and they noticed it going down. And there were lots of examples of this. So, I mean, that's the whole idea that people become more quiet in the vicinity of wisdom. This is more settled. This is a well-established idea. So when we're meditating down the beach, which we sometimes do at sunrise, and there's a big group, that would, in theory, if this theory is to be believed, create a sense of calmness in the environment in general. So the more people we get, you get a critical mass around the planet, people meditating. I think it was 1% that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi suggested was the amount that was needed. 1% of people meditating in the world would bring about world peace.
Because then it would become viral, or other people would meet there?
Because then energetically, there's a tipping point at which that would create enough harmony and balance for the world to not be such a violent and destructive place.
And on top of it, I feel like it gets a bit viral too. Because,
absolutely, yeah.
But I don't know, but for myself, for example, I learned a year and a half ago, and when I see how it made me, I think, like more productive, happier, more generous too. I obviously want to share that with people. I'll become doing this.
Yeah.
So
there's a point at which, again, that's the givingness that it gives you. You feel good. What do we feel good? When we get to a certain threshold of feeling good, we go, oh, you know what? I want to share this. Depending on your personality and your skill set, you want to share it in different ways. And you've decided to share it like this, which is fantastic. And I decided I wanted to be, because I wasn't always a meditation teacher. I was just meditating. And then I decided I wanted to be a meditation teacher, to share it that way.
Also, so thanks for being here, guys. And I think it'd be cool to do a little Q&A session. So if anyone has questions, that'd be interesting.
And if they haven't, we're just going to sit here like this.
Yeah. we're just going to meditate until there's a question. Well, if there's no question, ask your question if you have one. I have one. Quickly, because I wanted to ask you, I feel like apart from the more beginners technique with the apps I feel like in the, let's say, in the people who really promote meditation or are quite into meditation, I feel like two techniques are the main ones. There would be the transcendental meditation and the vipassana meditation. Like for example, transcendental would be like Tim Ferriss, David Lynch, Martin Scorsese, Oprah Winfrey. For the vipassana meditation, there's like the founder of Twitter, I think Dorsey. I think there's also the writer of this book that's amazing. So Yuval Noah Harari.
Yeah.
So what makes you what do you think about the two techniques? And
well, they're both beautiful techniques, and people tend to will be drawn to the one which is more useful to them. You can look for the bias towards Vedic now. Well, I'll just explain, I suppose, very simply why I teach Vedic and not Vipassana. It's because I couldn't learn. I didn't have success with that technique personally.
Okay.
Because it wasn't the right technique for me. But they're both beautiful techniques. Vedic, it's at least 6,000 years old. Vipassana, Buddhist technique, not quite as old as that, but still very old. And it has it's a different technique in that it's the concentrative style. So it involves following the breath and bringing the attention back there. And it's tricky. It's the more difficult technique. The Vedic or transcendental meditation technique uses a mantra, which operates as a kind of connector, if you like, between our sense of individuality and pure being. And that little connector allows us to get closer to it and then be pulled into the inertia and have the experience of pure being. Whereas Vipassana is it's a more difficult technique. I mean, I don't think anybody disagrees with that. So most people's experience of it in Sydney would be they go to the Blue Mountains and meditate and do 10-day silent retreat where you don't speak. You have to sit very still for long periods of time. You don't make eye contact. And through that process, you feel like a lot of activity in the mind, and eventually, for most people, break through into stillness, and that's a really good experience. But most people don't carry on with this is the clincher really for me. A lot of people who go on those retreats come back and don't continue the practice because it's very difficult and it's 2 hours a day.
And the practice is the training is 10 days of silent meditation. Right?
That's one way of it. That's one way of.
It's pretty intense.
Yes, it's pretty intense, and that's one way of experiencing it. And Vedic meditation, in contrast, you have an experience of depth very quickly. It's very easy, and you only have to do 20 minutes twice a day. And from all the studies, it seems at least as effective as Vipassana. So they're the simple reasons why, but I wouldn't say that anything was wrong with either of them. Obviously, that's the reason I teach Vedic meditation, because it's easy and it's powerful.
And so a really good one on Sapiens. I think it's one of my two favorite books with Power of Now, The Power of Now and Sapiens. And you asked, how long do we have to meditate per day? Well, I think for the Vedic method, you answered twice 20 minutes.
20 minutes twice a day for this technique. Why is that?
Or where does it come from?
We are the beneficiaries, if you like, of a long process of refinement. So they worked out that 20 minutes twice a day is a good way of experiencing the benefits of this meditation without too many side effects. And the side effect would be if you did too much meditation, start to release too much stress too quickly, you can feel not very good, basically. You can start to feel too emotional. So they worked out that was the right balance. And with other practices, it varies enormously. So like Vipassana, an hour twice a day, for example. And, apps, whatever they tell you to do. So it varies. But what I teach, 20 minutes twice a day, which is optimum for this particular practice. Hello, Jack. My son Jack's just come in. Climbed in through the window because he forgot his key. I heard that. How you doing?
So guys, if you have more questions, go for it.
Okay, yes, we passed on what's your perspective on that and how long do we meditate. We've done both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any more for any more?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah.
because I don't have a question, the question will be, what's the question people ask you the most?
How old are you?
How old are you?
45.
45?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I'm 45, and actually looking on this screen now, I can pretty much tell that. What do you think of the use of music while meditating? Okay, I don't use it personally because this technique doesn't require any. We're actually going beyond the senses. Transcend. The other name for the meditation, transcendental meditation. Transcend means go beyond, and primarily what we're going beyond are the senses. So, including the sense of hearing. So we don't, on purpose, use things that stimulate the senses. So that's my answer. I don't use it personally. Because the place you're going, like in the world of senses, we're here and we like to stimulate the senses and find the joy through the senses. And so we should, that's what it's all about. But when we're going internally, there's a sense of beauty that's beyond the senses. And actually, the senses are left behind to experience that.
I does come back a bit about what you talk about not needing anything really. So if you need the music, then you don't want to need anything exterior.
Yeah, you want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to start relying on, I would do my meditation, but I haven't got my little altar, my candles, my incense and my music playing, You just want to just keep the technology very simple, just you. And then when you do get chucked in prison, which hopefully you don't, you still got, nobody can take it away from you.
Yeah.
You've always got that thing.
Well, when you're French living in Sydney, it makes also the plane trips more useful.
Yeah, it's good for that. What's this? Any other apps you recommend? Tried Headspace, Smiling Mind and Calm. Did you hear, Luke, us mention One Giant Mind? That's my tip. One Giant Mind is a good effortless
I'll type
technique.
Is it like this?
No.
No?
Number one. Yeah.
One Giant Mind.
By the way, I have an app.
Yeah, so actually, can you tell us about Medimates, the app you created? So I said at the beginning that Matt was also from an entrepreneurial background, and so he kept it a bit with meditation.
I did, but there's no commercial angle to this yet, which is a bit of a barrier actually. I just made it to help people find group meditations wherever they are in the world. So you go on Medimates, it's called Medimates, and you can download it from the App Store. Only available on Apple at this stage. Not on Android, I'm afraid. Medimates, and you can, if you go in there, you can log on, you can find meditations, group meditations, you can join them wherever you are in the world. And you can also find other meditators and kind of make friends with them and stuff. Probably work best with Smiling Mind. Okay, cool.
Oh, that's okay. And yeah, just to say on the community, it's true that doing the classes, transcendental meditation, I looked, you can Google it, you can Google the mantra, the technique, but having first the training, having the persons around, so the teacher, but also the community, like for the people who are here in Bondi, I love, coming to all your sessions on, to your sessions on Monday afternoon or Thursday morning.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite important to have a community, to have people who, kind of make you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah. So in answer to Andrew, to your question, group TM meditations or any meditation, it doesn't have to be TM. I'm saying that there's a theory that's at least been partially proven that there's an exponential effect of meditating in groups. This has more measurable effects than meditating on your own. But let's say that the idea of a growing event, exponentially growing event horizon isn't true. Then there are still many benefits of meditating together, because, like Alex said, you can be held accountable. At least you go, and it's a way to kind of re-inspire yourself. There's the social aspect. You can start your own group meditation, which is a good way of making you accountable.
I think sometimes also, at least when you're educated with my background, not to feel too weird, like to have those people like those Tim Ferriss or Oprah Winfrey or Martin Scorsese talk about it, and then finding people like me, meditating too was also like, okay, I'm not too weird.
Okay, yeah. So you like the fact that other people do it too?
Yeah, like
normal people do it.
Normal people, plus also people I would like respect or find insightful or be inspired by.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, normal people meditate. It's true. I think this. Look, it might well be different in France and probably in England, but I think we're moving out of that phase where it's weird to meditate.
But even in France, it becomes more like it's not mainstream, but it becomes less.
We're moving out of the real dark ages on meditation. It's just like, you find even the people who seem to be particularly find it, I don't know, challenging in some way or weird, they seem quite interested as well, I find. So, I think.
But yeah, actually, if you want to know more, you come on Monday nights, right, for the free talks?
Yeah, Monday night, 8:00, 28 Moore Street, Bondi. You just go to bondimeditation.com.au and register for a free intro talk. So you can come along and listen. You don't have to sign up for anything. You can just come and listen. No obligation.
Yeah, that's what I did. Came on a Monday. I thought like, wow, that sounds amazing. Felt I wanted to do it. I had, as usual, when you make this decision, you have that little paranoid monkey in your head.
Oh yeah,
that's a bit like, are you entering your sect? Is he manipulating you? You don't know. Is it for me? And I was like,
fortunately now there's 100 reviews on Facebook, so you're not at least the only one who's fallen for it.
So just got like, fuck that, do it. And I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, it definitely was for me when I learned. No doubt about that. Okay. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Andrew.
Guys. Thanks for being here, for saying thanks, Luke and Andrew.
Yeah. And if anyone's got any questions they want to ask me, you can find me. I'm on there, right? Yeah, Matt Ringrose. So just send me a message and I will answer any questions you have about meditation. So just send them through. Lovely chatting. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Matt.
See ya.